Thank you both for very interesting presentations. So what did we learn in the second panel? We learned that being an entrepreneur is not a skill set, but it's a mindset. A mindset can be both a blocker or an accelerator. We also learned that every business should be an ESG business. And we learned that the CO2 equivalent is, in fact, the new currency. We had an overview of the Finnish Climate Fund, which is an initiative put in place by the Finnish government to deliver their very ambitious net zero target. And we learned that climate change is not happening in metaverse, but we will not reach carbon neutrality without digitization. And then we have seen lots of interesting and inspiring case studies, I would say, about startups and examples. And I would probably start there in my questions, and I would ask Ondřej. Ondřej, Pia has provided us with a long list of examples of what their organization financed. Have you got any kind of inspirational stories from perhaps the non-Finnish space, I would say, that you came across?
Yes, there are many projects which it's visible that in the Nordic countries they are supporting for and being responsible to the climate, and they are following the ESG. So Pia has presented very nice project, and honestly, I do see also very good projects even here in the Czech Republic. But as I said during my presentations, there are many mindset blockers to go outside. So even though that Pia is not at the moment, supporting anything which is not connected to Finland, these guys, these entrepreneurs can establish some, cooperation with Finland or joint venture with Finnish companies and ask for the investment support from Pia's fund. So this is kind of the mind blockers which I was presenting, and this is exactly the one that everything must be under my control. Not everything, it's not necessary to have under your control. So you can get a funding even though you have a good idea and you can have the joint venture and ask for the money. So yes. Okay, excellent, thank you. Maybe my second question would go to Pia. You mentioned that the emission reduction potential, you said, you're an impact fund, so you are interested in the emission reduction potential as the most important criterion. How can this be quantified? Are there any best practices or frameworks or anything that you can recommend the companies to follow?
Thank you. Very good question. First of all, no one is a master in this. I mean, this is so new. So, and I've seen, just this is something that should take into your kind of a curriculum from, well, I don't know if high school, not then at least from universities and professional colleges, etc. So it's a huge learning thing. I've studied this for 2 years, and I'm an old dog, so I don't know how much I learned. So first of all, be patient. So emission reduction potential for the climate fund, how we look at it, we try to align with the EU Sustainable Development Framework. EU's do no significant harm 6 climate goals, and then because we are just the fund, and we think that when our customer, our portfolio company, when we start to talk this language, it should be so general that when the next round of financials are coming, it would be a quality stamp. Oh, climate funds portfolio, they've done this transparent and honest manner. So that's kind of the goal, is to understand what we need to do in order to reach only 1.5 decrease Paris and COP Glasgow's level, which I've understood it's already impossible for humankind. So what we are looking here, and that's why we always open that challenge us. So when we share, we have a white paper on how to count the emission reduction potential. So we want to get critics and comments. We hope that it's in line with EU's Innovation Fund. They are also asking the same. And then what we look is in nutshell is CO2 emission reduction potential counting into Kyoto's climate treaty's 7 glasshouse emissions. Scope 1, 2, 3, please check it out, climate and scope 1, 2, 3. How do you count direct, indirect, direct, indirect kind of emissions? And then because we are working with growth companies, so the scaling, so how much the impact could scale in the next 10 years. So this is how we look at it. And we have, I can put the link to the, the document and what we use. And I've sent it to 2 cases in US as well. And their experts looked at it that, okay, they can also understand, because our base is the European, so how we do the counting. So we are looking for millions of CO2 equivalent tons on the cumulative, on a cumulative path.
Yeah. Excellent. Okay, thank you. Yeah, I think it would be helpful if you were happy to share the link that, more informative, more detail, obviously, that organizations can have a look at. That's great. My next question would be, I'm going to go back to the ESGs. And in the first panels, we talked about ESGs being too complex and CEOs already saying ESGs are anti-business. And what's your view? I know there's quite a lot happening around ESG in the fintech space. What's your view? Is ESG here to stay, or are we likely to see a change in the framework or a complete shift? Any of you? It's kind of a question for both of you potentially.
No, honestly, if I may answer, I don't think it's just anti-business. I said that in all of the projects you can find some ESG touches. So you can connect to your partner. You can be an IT company and you can connect to your partners, which are ESG, doing the ESG, the web host, the server hostings. They can use the green energy to power the server houses. So there are many things which you can find in your business to be ESG. You just need to little bit think about it and find the exact idea. So the same thing in our case, that we were looking how to be social responsible to the target group that we are servicing. So we found a way how to service differently the target group through the loans to keep the regulation to keep the regulation protection to our clients, but to ensure that they have a financial inclusion and financial well-being. So in every part of the business, in every business, I think you can find, if you will think more deeper and outside of the comfort zone, you can find a way how to be ESG. It's not necessarily to be driven by the companies which are 500 employees plus. You can do it very easily.
Thank you. Pia, have you got anything to add at all, or?
Well, for us, ESG is here to stay. We are looking especially the E and inside climate, the climate in particular. I mean, it's both economy and environment. I mean, for us and biodiversity and social justice. Like we are here not for. We are not. I've learned so many sources. It's not the wealth that makes us happy. It's the living and life and the journey. So really, like, I think the neoclassic, I've gone through like a rehab, because that's maybe I'm preaching that here more eager than ever. So I've been a converted, but really on the other hand, there is just no-goes. When I worked for Nokia, we were best in our industry to report, for example, rare earth metals. I know because we were praised the best in the world in electronics. And I think Nokia currently still is that, but that was even consumer electronics those days. So I think these are just, like it's part of the humanity. And I think these teams are very important in very difficult times we experience in Europe. So that's what we're all doing, I mean, as individuals. Sorry, a bit broad comment, but like, I mean, we take this as self-evident, to be honest.
Okay, excellent, thank you. And very briefly, before I close the panel, are startups young people's game? We see startup incubators typically alongside universities, but on the other hand, I know quite a lot of people who are interested or who are active in the sustainability sphere, but they were somewhat probably left behind because being a sustainability professional until recently meant that you had to work for the government most often than not. Is it a young people's game?
I'm passionate about this because there is studies that for the first startup, you know, I'm not talking about serial entrepreneurs, which we all investors love because they've been the journey, they've been in the valley of death, and I have such a huge respect. Okay, I've been on the other side of the table as well, but I have such a huge respect for the founders. The studies are shown that the most ideal age to succeed as a startupper is 43 years. So I love the enthusiasm in our university where when I'm a member of the board, for example, or the university is nearby here geographically in Helsinki area. But the fact is that the stats don't lie. And usually when you know what you're doing, you know better, you know, age helps you. So, and what you do before. So, you know, the best succeed rate is if you are first comer and startup, or you've done your 10, 15 years of your working life. I don't talk about careers, by the way, because career sounds like that's something to be planned. I haven't planned anything. I'm a generation where I drift. So drift to interesting cases, but never having said that. So, and there is no way, you know, there are people who are kicking off their startups, you know, age of 20, age of 70, anything between. So that's why, but the stats say, I think it was one Ivy League, Stanford or something, had studied that the best success rate as a first-timer startup entrepreneur was 42.
Fantastic. Well, thank you. Andre, what would you like to?
Yeah, Pia is absolutely right. It can be also the startup is the young guys, but you know, these for persuading the investors that you will do the success is that you have an experience. Either you have an experienced team which is behind you, or you have the experience from your own area where you would like to do the business. If you have no experience, then how can you would like to persuade the investor to give you his money to burn it into your business and to believe that it will be successful? So this is very key, you know, criterion that if you go to ask for the money, you have to have a very strong background or strong team behind you, which is doing the business with you. Not just have a cool idea, but per se the investor that you will actually are able to run the business and to make the success.
Fantastic. So that's the hope. Thank you very much. I would like to close the second panel. Thank you both. And I would like to invite all three panelists from the first panel, if we could please close the entire session. We have about 5 minutes, so I thought I would give 1 minute to each of you to make your final remarks. If you could maybe make it positive so that we finish on a positive note. Can I maybe start with Tomáš Pobaček?
Yes, I'll be happy to. I have one more note to add to all the interesting cases and advices that I heard here today, and that is there are only few things that by which you can inspire people in organizations, and sustainability is one that is, you know, available now, and that inspires so many people in the organizations if you do it in authentic way, and if you just don't greenwash. But again, this is a huge opportunity, not just to render the business more sustainable, but also to inspire, to involve people in the process. So a great opportunity and a very, very optimistic challenge that organizations can take. Nothing I'd like to say nothing to worry about, but probably, I mean, it is very complex. I mean, it's huge challenges that we need to tackle, but sustainability is a huge opportunity for companies to get people on board and to get them involved. So I wouldn't wait a minute and best to start now and just go step by step and involve the persons in the organizations.
Right. Thank you. Thank you. How about Jan? Did you have anything to say?
Yeah, we at YIT, we really look forward to our new goals in the area of reducing carbon dioxide emissions in construction sites and developer projects. And we also look forward to ESG reporting, because we have done some non-financial reporting, but not the ESG reporting, as was mentioned here. And yeah, we believe that the current situation in the world is not good, but we firmly believe that we can bring our goals closer to fulfilling faster than we have thought to the situation. So that's
positive. That's positive. Thank you. Thank you. How about Ondřej? Do you have anything to share?
We generally see very nice examples of the ESG projects in the real estate development and also in the climate fund presented by Pia. And definitely we've got a very nice legal overview from Tomáš. So I think it's all of us set. And I think we have to just go ahead and find the interesting project, support them, not just to stick with the reporting, but also to find the very nice projects and support them. It's basically duty and responsibility of all of us, because we should be a social responsible.
Excellent. And Pia, what would you, anything to say?
Thank you. I'd like to encourage everyone, women and men, to be innovative and try out startup life, and go for your dreams, and let's remember that we need this inclusiveness, so both genders or any gender, as my teenage daughter explains to me. So I'd like to see kind of diversity brings us further, and we should actually start, building the, kind of a gospel of hope when it comes to climate tech, because basically it's humans. We've caused it. It's our job to fix it. So simple for our children and grandchildren. So that's my message. We can do it.
Thank you. Yeah, it's also good news that we caused it, because we can fix it. Thank you very much, everybody. Fantastic session. Thank you for being here with us today. Thank you to the audience as well, for those of you who stayed until the end. And I'm hoping that I will meet you another time soon, potentially at another event. Thank you.
Thank you. Good luck.
Thank you very much.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.